Everything's going to be off the chart. And Julie Green's exposure, the banking system will be worse than Enron.
We're within 2 weeks of gold and silver jumping vertical, and the Kim Clement prophecy was watch the gold. When silver explodes, the banks go down. I repeat this. When the silver explodes, the banks go down.
Psalm 91. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him I will trust. Surely He shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the perilous pestilence. He shall cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you shall take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flies by day, nor of the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor of the destruction that lays waste at noonday. 1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near you. Only with your eyes shall you look and see the reward of the wicked. Because you have made the Lord, who is my refuge, even the Most High, your dwelling place. No evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near you, your dwelling. For He shall give His angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. In their hands they shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. You shall tread upon the lion and the cobra, the young lion and the serpent you shall trample underfoot. Because He has set His love upon me, therefore I will deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation.
And we want to welcome all of His Glory Nation from east to west to north to south. Welcome to today's Take 5, another live version. We have Andrew Sorchini with Beverly Hills Precious Metals with us. Polny, they're in for a treat because we just got done with an hour and a half of Julie Green, and she had some incredible prophecies about the banking system, silver and gold, an act of God. I think Bo was saying we need an act of God. Well, that act of God is coming. It is coming. Oh, boy. We had the most explosive Julie Green, I think, ever today. So when I heard you talking to Andrew before we started about you need an act of God, well, I think that act of God is coming.
Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely. Yeah, just like I've said before, actually what was coming to me this morning was very specific. It was 1 Timothy 6, verse 10. It says, for the love of money is the root of all evil. And you got to pull out the root.
Yeah.
To expose all the deals. So what's about to happen is a mortal wound when the root gets pulled out. So this is about to happen here. I do believe we could see for a mortal wound type event, something happen here in the next 2 months. Huge probability for a massive biblical intervention. We've talked about this before, but the 15th of Nisan, which is Passover season, and Passover this year ends specifically on the last day of Passover is Resurrection Sunday, which rarely ever happens. So we've got 2 calendars. Kim Clement had about prophecy about 2 clocks meeting, and 2 clocks meaning 2 calendars. And so this year, 2025, the calendars meet. Specifically, the Passover calendar meets the Roman calendar, which is therefore the Resurrection Sunday event, specifically April 20th. And then before April hits, we still have a prophecy I sent over to your staff. Hopefully we can play it sometime today from Kent Christmas. And the Kent Christmas prophecy, I think, ties in with what you were just saying, Pastor Dave, in the podcast you had with Julie Green. I didn't see it, the podcast you had with Julie, but the prophecy goes back 3 years, and it talks about God stepping in potentially next week, okay, or the week after, but in the next 7 days, starting next week, and Babylon gets a mortal wound. A mortal means death blow. Okay, so it's Babylon the Great, the harlot, gets a death blow potentially before the end of March. So that's a great place to start. And the death blow would be the act of God that sets gold and silver on fire. And back to what we've always talked about is Andrew's beach day. Not that he's not working. It's the fact that when gold's exploding in price, there's nothing for not Andrew, but for any gold dealer to be doing, because everything's out of control. The entire financial markets go out of control. So what the death blow is, I don't know. But I can say right now, charts are pointing to, and prophecy is pointing to, a mortal wound to the root of all evil. The root of all evil is money. The money is how Babylon built itself. The money is how they install politicians. The money is how they pay off politicians. The money is how they buy and pay for everything on Wall Street. And the money is how Hollywood is controlled. The money is how the music industry is controlled. The money, it's the root of all evil. And there is an event coming which brings a death blow to Babylon. And I do believe that death blow is directly going to be related to the money, the root of all evil. So expand maybe a little bit about what Julie Green was talking about, Pastor Dave. And this Friday is Purim, okay? But interestingly, too, it's actually the start of 2025 based on the calendar that was on the earth being used when Jesus walked the earth. So the Advent calendar ends on the 13th, this Thursday, tomorrow, and New Year's Day per the Advent calendar is Purim, the same exact day. So again, does something start on Purim? I don't know, but everything is triggered for something to manifest here with regards to the root of all evil. The money system's got to be attacked by a biblical intervention. Something's got to start here. And then that will ultimately set the stage for what all three of us have been talking about: God's money, gold, and silver. So go ahead, Pastor Dave. I'm sorry. What was Julie kind of talking specifically about with reference to the money system?
Well, Julie and I have been together probably 4 years doing this every Wednesday, and we call it Wednesdays with Julie Green. This is probably the most explosive one we've ever had, because it was just, we had generals coming in, texting me real-time intel based off of prophecy, confirming it. It was just mind-blowing. Anyways, a couple big takeaways from that is that the banking system is going to go down. It's going to come down. God's system is coming up. Gold will be backed, and silver and gold will be backing the new economy. These are her prophecies, not me saying anything, which confirms what I was told and I've seen with my own eyes. And talking about the root of all evil, one of her prophecies was the Epstein list will be tied to executives at Wall Street and will bring them down, and worse than Enron. I just heard the same thing yesterday from an intel source that Epstein is tied to executives in Wall Street, and this is going to bring the whole house of cards down. You combine that with the World Economic Forum is out there. Candace Owen, I think, talked about this yesterday, that they're doing exercises with a new pandemic around a virus on the internet. And some believe that might have been the start of what happened to X and Rumble, 2 days ago, the attacks that they want to bring down the entire internet system to clean these internet bugs out of the system. It's all coming together right now. Intense time.
Think about things going dark, right? What happened when Jesus died on the cross? Things went dark. What happened when Lazarus died? Things went dark, right? And it was a time of mourning. But remember, when God's involved, the time of mourning shortly thereafter turns to what?
Joy.
Dancing, right? Yep. So it turns to joy in the morning. So as much as there's sadness coming upon the world, know that God's the creator of all of this, and it's a battle for souls, and our job is to wake as many people up as possible to the truth. What is the truth? Christ is King. And he's got a greater plan than what evil's plan is. That's the bottom line. I don't know if you can play it's like 1 minute clip, but Kent Christmas clip ties in directly with what you were playing or speaking specifically about Julie Green, because he's actually said this was a prophecy of like 3 years ago. It was prophesied on the 19th of March, and it said within the next 7 days, I will bring a mortal wound upon Babylon, the enemies of God. So that would mean between the 19th and the 26th, back to, again, what you're hearing through Julie Green. So again, I'm just putting, like, the more pieces you put together, the more of a picture you begin to see. And then this also ties in with Purim, because Purim was also a wealth transfer, because specifically when Haman fell, he hung, so did all his sons. Then next thing you know, Mordecai he's put in second in command. So all of this is about a shifting, but it's all on biblical timing. That's the cool part of all this. There's so many biblical events starting today, or actually starting this Friday into June. Why am I saying that? Because this Friday is Purim. Yep. You got a blood moon on Purim. Then right after that, you got Nisan 1, which is on the God's clock, which is basically Exodus 12:2, the start of God's clock. So it's the first month of the year. Then you get into Passover, and you got all the events of Passover. Then 25 days later, you're at May 15th, May 14th, which is a Red Sea miracle time point calculation based off Exodus. Then a little bit after that, you've got Pentecost on, I think it's June 9th. Talk about all the biblical feasts before we even get to summer. And the Kent Clement prophecy is joy in spring. Joy in spring. So it's wild, the setup right now. That's what's going on. And this is the best part, Andrew. Where's silver at? We've always said silver is not allowed to go above $35. It's not allowed to even touch 40, and forget about breaking 50. Okay. And so Barry Winch had a prophecy, maybe I'm not sure, a few months ago. He says that silver is going to go, because again, what's the Jubilee? It's 50, right? So 50-year Jubilee. So Barry Winch had a prophecy that silver is going to blow through $50 in the year of Jubilee. Think about that, right? 50 Jubilee. Silver's never. It's touched $49. Andrew can confirm it's never, ever, ever touched $50 an ounce. It's gone to $49.70 maybe, but it's never touched $50 in the history of silver. But yet the prophecy holds, because God doesn't lie. So silver is going to blow, not even touch 50. It's going to just shoot right through $50 in the year of Jubilee. We're here. It's all about to go down. And we're waiting for a mortal wound for Babylon. We're explosion in the year of Jubilee for the price of silver. We got the Julie Green prophecies. We got the cycle charts all pointing to something blowing here in March. Andrew, talk about silver, because as much as people want to talk about gold, because gold's, again, it's a little more exciting at 2,900, which is still a joke. It should be at 50,000. We were talking about that. But right now with silver, is silver allowed to go through $35? Is silver allowed to even touch 40? And heck, has it ever touched $50, Andrew?
Well, just to give a little history on that, back in 2011 is when both gold and silver hit their all-time highs at the same time. So gold got to about $1,915 an ounce. That was all-time high, 2011. And silver got to $49.15 or something like that. So if you analyze where those spot prices are now, we've got $2,934 gold. It's up more than $1,000 an ounce from where it was in 2011. And silver is actually valued at exactly 2/3 of what it was worth in 2011. So there's clearly something wrong with that picture. No asset could do that poorly over that time frame in comparison to something else that is also precious metals, unless of course it was manipulated down. So calling it a poor performance isn't fair to silver, because the banks need silver to be somewhere under $40 an ounce so that we still have a need for the banks. Once it breaks through I think we're going to see a lot of banks have trouble because they have short positions. It would be a short squeeze, and it'll probably happen quickly. But I agree with you, Bo. Next time silver approaches $49 to $50, it'll probably blow right through it and really probably march towards $60, $70 an ounce. Who knows, maybe even 100, because if you figure that gold is up 50% from where it was at in 2011, and if you take the high of 2011 for silver and and give that a bump of 50%, silver should be closer to $75 an ounce. So
that's exactly correct.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, so something's not right with this picture. So that's why when people reach out to us and they say, okay, I'm rolling over my retirement account, which lately a lot of the smart money has been piling in. And when I say smart money, I'm talking about IRA rollovers, 500,000 and up. Okay. These are people that have been in stocks in Bitcoin recently, and they're getting out. They're moving into gold and silver heavily. I'm taking $2, $3, $4 million purchases are being done just this year in 2025. It's been amazing to see. So these are people that believe that this is the year of gold and silver, like Donald Trump said, and I know we've talked about it so many times at his inauguration speech. He started with saying that the golden era of America begins today, and I believe that. As we sit now, gold is $20 under its all-time high. Silver is 50 cents below its high from last year, and which happens to be like the 10-year high for silver. So once silver breaks 34, I think we're going to take a run at 35. Let's see if we can. Let's see if they will let silver do what it should be doing.
With regards to silver, it was like 9-10 years ago. There is a CME, it's a security breach law that they have situated for silver in case they lose control of it. And it's a $3 per ounce 5-minute locks. So what it will do is it'll go, so if it goes 35 and then it jumps, it can go $3. So that'll be 20, 35, 36, 37, 38. They lock it up for 5 minutes. They reopen the markets, it could go another $3. That'd be 38, 39, 40, 41. They lock it up again, 5 minutes, 42, 43, 44. And then there's no more locks after that. And then it can go $20 or more. Okay, so I do believe that when silver finally breaks free, it's going to be by a hand of God. It's going to be a move that we won't be able to understand, or something happens that we can't explain, but there's a move coming here that's going to be sudden and sharp, and silver is going to go 3, 3, 3. That's 9 plus possibly 20, so maybe $29 to $30 in a single day. So if you take the price right now, it's at 30 something, right? 32, 33. You add another 30, that would take it to about 67. I've got about target on my resistance charts right around $67. So your price target of 70 to 75, Andrew, is exactly on the money. So we should see silver in a single day when it breaks free, not only stop at 50 or just touch 50, could go, and it's supposed to go right through $50, and it could pause and stop right around 67 to $70 in a single day. But the problem with that is that's going to freak out the markets. No one's going to understand what just happened. All the traders that all the vendors and sellers like yourself, Andrew, who sell gold and silver, are just going to close their doors, because it's going to be such an event that no one's going to know. Again, is Andrew going to sell it for $67? But if Andrew sells it for $67, what's he going to buy it back for? So what can he buy it for to replace what he just sold? So Andrew's going to I don't even know what the heck's going on. But Andrew's not only asking the question, every other gold dealer in the United States and the world is going to be saying the exact same thing. So there's going to be a window of time, like Lazarus dead in the tomb. For a window of time, it's just going to go dark. No one's going to be doing anything, because, again, no one's going to know what the heck is going on or what just happened. And this takes me back to, again, the root of all evil, right? The root of all evil is money. And when the money, that's why, like Elon right now, what are the Democrats trying to do? They're using lawfare to do one specific thing: to stop Elon from using all his resources to follow the money, right? Because when you follow the money, you see who got it, where it went, and you can simply figure out their game plan, what they did. But ultimately, following the money, it leads right back to the coffers of all the Democrats, many Republicans. It leads literally to most financial institutions in New York. So when you follow the money, you're going to find out that the fraud was actually so big, it'll be mind-blowing. What they've discovered so far is only a piece. Understand that they've created not millions, not billions, but not trillions, but quadrillions. Okay, this is like we're in debt $33 trillion. Understand on the market crash of 2020, Andrew and Pastor David, they created $7 trillion overnight to stick back in the stock market, to push up the stock market, and now people wonder why their homes doubled in price. Why do most homes in the United States double in price in the past 4 years? Why? Because you stick $7 trillion in the markets to push up the markets again. Well, the money's going to find its way into real estate, and that's why everything's exploded in price, except what? Gold and silver. Get what I'm saying? And so why is silver in 2011? In 1980, it went to $49 an ounce. In 2011, silver went to $49 an ounce. It's never touched 50. And since 1980, when the money supply was in the millions, we've joked about this, right? There's never been $1 billion in the 70s or 80s. Then now we're in the quadrillions. You know how many zeros that is? But yet silver is still the price it was in the 70s. If that's not the greatest reason to buy silver right here, right now, understand when God's about to intervene, silver is going to move from where it was in the 70s in price, where it is still today. It's going to find true value discovery. Talk about $500, $600, $700 an ounce silver. Oh, it's coming. It's coming. That's biblical, and it's coming.
Yeah, the dates that we're referring to are after gold being the standard. If President Trump, which I am told by many people, he's going to bring in silver and gold back, that is going to be the new economy. We've never seen that since, 1971. So everything's going to be off the chart. And Julie Green's exposure, the banking system will be worse than Enron. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. All right, we'll be right back right after this.
Beverly Hills Precious Metals Exchange is a client-focused firm devoted to assisting our clients with precious metals. Our clients range from first-time to serious coin collectors and investors seeking to add precious metals to their investment portfolios. We are not interested in volatile investments, leveraged products, and intangible assets. With rising inflation and the devaluing of the dollar hurting middle-class families, investing in gold and silver ensures protection for your hard-earned money. Save the value of your money today by investing in gold and silver at Beverly Hills Precious Metals.
Amazing. Golden age is truly coming upon us. All right. Do we have that clip from Kent Christmas to run, Creed? Let's run the Kent Christmas.
He said, in the next 7 days, I'm going to hit a mortal wound to the enemy in the United States of America. And he says, as men have said, March winds and April showers, God said there is a wind of the Lord getting ready to hit this coming week in the United States of America that is going to astound people. It's going to mortally wound the enemy. Hallelujah. And it is setting the stage, says the Lord, for the month of April. God says, I'm opening heaven upon the church and upon this nation, and there is going to be a rain of the blessing and the favor of the Lord. I asked the Lord, I said, what is this mortal wound? God said, I ain't telling you that. He said, I just need you to tell them, get ready, because in this next week, you're going to see something happen that's going to be reported in the nation, that God is going to begin to do something supernatural by the power of the Holy Ghost.
Wow, praise God. It's coming.
So the next 7 days, so that was the 19th, March 19th. No one knew the year, okay? So it was done in 2023. So this was 3 years ago, or 2 years ago. Didn't happen in 23. Didn't happen in 24. But the Lord's word, God doesn't lie. He can't lie. And the prophecy is true. We just don't know the year. But starting the 19th, through the 26th, in the next 7 days, Babylon gets a mortal wound, which in my heart, I truly believe that this is why the Lord's putting it on me. The love of money is the root of all evil. This is literally going to be the collapse, possibly of the dollar, but whatever. It's going to be a spike vertically in God's money, gold, and silver. And like Andrew said, when silver explodes, it's a bank killer. Okay, so that's going to start being devastating to the U.S. banks. And that will tie in with what you are hearing, Pastor Dave, through Julie and then the generals about the banking system going down. And so when silver explodes, the banks go down. I repeat this. When the silver explodes, the banks go down. And because they've used manipulation of silver to hold the price low so the U.S. dollar maintains its value. And a strong U.S. dollar gives Babylon and George Soros, because in the time of Soros, this is the money system to control the globe. And when you read Jeremiah, Babylon, the United States, was the golden cup, and then the world became drunk with her. What's her? Her money.
Yep.
And so this is going to be biblical, what's about to go down here. And again, I just find the prophecy of Kent Christmas we just listened to very interesting. Got to admit, because, you just did a prophecy with Julie. Now you listen to the Kent Christmas prophecy. You got to admit. And then you're listening to the generals. You got to admit, all the pieces seem to be fitting very nicely, don't they, Pastor Dave?
Well, they do, because it's not just a market crash where we think there's a market crash, too much volume and, or correction or whatever. This truly is about corruption. This way, Julie said, and ENRON, I read to you in the break, the 5 banks and how this is going to be tied to those countries. Ukraine is one of them. It's a scandal, a scandal worse than ENRON is what Julie got prophecy. So that is what you said, money, greed, the love of money and power. That's going to be yanked from them. And you can see it with what President Trump's doing. He's almost toying with them in the market. And he said 2 days in a row, don't worry about the stock market. I care more about Main Street.
Stock market's going to go, the Dow's going to go to 100,000. Why? Because when this event goes down, they're going to create more money, stick it back in the stock market, and the Dow is going to rise, and the markets are going to rise. Okay, that's all fine and dandy, but it's going to rise in a money system. That's a fraud. See, but when this event happens, it's not about the stock market, because the stock market, like I've said, can crash 1,000 times, and you just agreed, Pastor Dave. Because if the markets crash, they can create more money, stick it back in, and they prop up the markets again. But if the dollar crashes, and the world loses confidence. See, what would be if the truth came out about what they've been doing with the money, with relation to everything, the Epstein list, and where the money all goes, and about the children and all. If they understand, and the truth comes out, because the truth will set us free, but the truth comes out about where the money's been going, follow the money. Mm-hmm. If it comes and the truth comes out, this will take down the banking institutions, Wall Street, all of this. It takes it down. And when it goes down, it's going to go down with the U.S. dollar, because faith and confidence suddenly is lost in the dollar in America. Get it? And so that's why Trump is there to bring in a new gold standard like you've been hearing. And so with all of that said, Andrew, if gold, if silver, it's if, because the dollar is going to crash at some point. God's already prophesied this through Julie, through 3 or 4 prophets I've already heard. So the U.S. dollar, the Federal Reserve note, is going to crash. Okay, it's going to crash. And the Federal Reserve note is not America. Okay, the Treasury's America.
Right.
The Federal Reserve note is out of London. They're bankers out of London. They're private bankers out of London. There's a YouTube video of Cash Patel, actually stating the Federal Reserve is a private institution.
I think we got to educate people that the Federal Reserve is not a public government entity. It's a private entity. The robber barons that started this country who manipulate the currency to their advantage. And that needs to be tackled.
We use the Federal Reserve money system as a private institution out of London. Cash Patel confirmed it. It's on my Twitter account. I reposted it. Okay. And so we don't care about the Federal Reserve system, but the world uses it. What matters for the United States is the Treasury system, the U.S. Treasury. And so Trump's going to come back and restore the financial system in the United States backed by the Treasury in gold and silver. Andrew, if suddenly the U.S. financial system is backed by gold and silver out of the Treasury, by gold and silver, what would happen to the value of gold and silver?
I mean, it could really go to the moon. I have to just be like ultra conservative and just say that in the short term, it could be in the $3,000 to $5,000 per ounce range. There are people out there that have done calculations. I'm talking people that have studied precious metals and finance, for 50 years and actually been in the market. They're saying that gold could go as high as $120,000 an ounce. There's one gentleman that says that even if the dollars out there were 50% backed by gold, that gold would be somewhere around like 20,000 an ounce. So I've heard 16, 17,000. I've heard 26, 27,000. So they're saying that this could happen in the form of a revaluation.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because that Tucker Carlson video from a few weeks back where he talked about cryptocurrency, he's not a fan of it at all. And he went on to say that the United States might actually be secretly pegging gold as a back to the dollar by increasing their position, knowing that that's going to devalue the dollar. But what they gain when the value of the gold goes up can help offset some of the country's deficit. So and then you were talking about stock market crashes. You guys remember 1987? There was a terrible crash in October of that year.
Yep.
These crashes usually happen about every 7 or 8 years. There was one in the early 90s. Then there was the big one in March of 2000 when the .com boom looked like it was over, and companies like Amazon went down like 80%. And then there was another one in 2008, and that was the beginning of the financial crisis. But there wasn't one in 2015. There wasn't one in 22 or 2023, and we've yet to see it. Like it skipped over like 2 cycles here. So this is another way that we know that the markets have been manipulated by the mass printing of dollars that Bo's been speaking of to go back into the stock market to keep it strong. It's all artificial. None of this is real. So it's people need to own gold and silver, okay, in a portion of their portfolio. Recently, Ray Dalio, who's been a hedge fund guy since the mid 70s, he said that you've got to have at least 15% of your portfolio in gold. He says that not enough Americans are invested in gold, and people that do have gold and silver, that when your stocks and your cryptocurrency or your real estate are up in value, the gold's not doing anything. But when everything else is going down, that's when gold goes up. So this really does add balance to your portfolio. And really, they say that only 1% of Americans understand gold and silver and how it relates to everything that you've worked your whole life for. And like we always say, Pastor Dave, if it goes from 1% to 10%, that would exceed all of the world's physical gold and silver. That alone could drive it up to the figures that Bo says that can happen. We could see $50,000 gold. We could see, $500 silver. But it would take, like Bo said before the show and at the beginning, it would take an act of God for that to happen.
And we see now that, with the more they're digging, this has not been picked up by the main fake news at all, I don't believe. But there's now reports that Joe Biden's administration was buying mortgages that were on the brink of default, like in 2008, just to keep the market from crashing. So that news is starting to come out. And then we know all this taxpayer dollars and having a bloated government and putting all this money into the government and putting into U.S. aid has inflated our economy as well. And President Trump's pulling all that away. It's coming to a crash. I want to ask you, though, Andrew and Bo, you mentioned, Andrew, 16 to 17,000 that you heard in gold. What would the price be of silver under those numbers?
Geez, I believe that that it wouldn't go up the same percentage. I think that silver can go up 2 or 3 times as much as gold. So to calculate it at that point, if we saw let's call it $16,000 gold, I'd say about 150 to 250 per ounce on the silver, really probably closer to 250. And one interesting thing about that is that we've talked so many times about the industrial uses of silver and how silver, when it comes to how it's used in in things like solar panels, it's actually turned into a paste and put so tightly in between these little pieces of aluminum that it can't be recycled, not for what it's worth today. Silver would have to be somewhere in the $125 to $250 an ounce range for that silver to be recyclable at some point, because it costs too much to get it out. So it's just not worth it. So they're not really pulling out that much silver out of the ground anymore. And since it's being consumed, I think that each day that we wake up, there's less ounces available to us than there was the day before. So the demand is there. When people do retirement accounts with us, we have them do, say 70% silver. We ask some questions. We figure out what's good for them based on the answers that they give us. We might go 70% silver and 30% gold. And I love this because we don't know how long silver is going to sit in the pattern that it's in now. It could be months, it could be years. And I certainly hope it's not years, but it could be. But if a person has a retirement account that has 30% gold and 70% silver, and you find yourself in a jam financially, you can sell part of your gold, because gold is like a sloth climbing up the tree. If you watch it, it's not moving at all. But if you go and do other things and you go back and look, it's at the top of the tree. And that's what gold does. It does that over time. So when you sell your gold, you might sell it for a little profit, but what you've done is you've kept it there for emergency. You sell it when you need it. With the silver, you can speculate with that, and that's going to take time. So you leave that to do what we know it's going to do. Would it be okay if I talked a little bit about like some of the history of gold and silver, going back to the 70s? Okay, so for me, I'm feeling a little nostalgic right now because it was 1985, exactly 40 years ago, that I started working in the precious metals industry. I worked at a coin shop at 15 years old. I would hop over the back wall of where I lived in West Covina, California, cross the street, go to the shopping mall, and just hang out in the coin shop all day long. And eventually they put me to work. And I got to learn about gold and silver and how it protects people's portfolios. And this is, 1985. And to put things in perspective, in 1985, there were no gold and silver eagles. They didn't exist. There was no Canadian maple leafs. There was no Australian kangaroos. There was no government gold available except for the Krugerrand. And you guys might both remember that the Krugerrand was actually illegal to own in the 70s and 80s here in America because of its ties to apartheid that happened in South Africa. So it was illegal to own, but still people traded in them when you can get them. So the only way that you could invest in gold and silver in 1985 and all the years before is to buy, they would have 100-ounce bars, 5-ounce silver bars, 10-ounce silver bars. They had these 1-ounce art bars. It could be the one where they have like the guy with the big beard smoking a pipe. And if you look at his face real close, you would see like the body of a woman. Like they would have any design, like Christmas bars. We buy those sometimes and it says Merry Christmas 1979. And we buy this old silver. Well, in 1986, the U.S. Mint came out with gold and silver eagles. And these became the first United States bullion coins that were government backed, that were legal to own.
From the Treasury. That's important. Yeah. From the Treasury. From the Treasury. Why you want to own them right now as well, too. They're from the Treasury. Go ahead.
Exactly. And all the other countries followed suit. So we saw like China came out with the Chinese panda. There's a Canadian maple leaf. I mean, they came out and became so popular, all these government coins. Austria now has the silver and gold philharmonics, just beautiful, beautiful coins. And this changed the precious metals industry forever, because now people don't see the need to own these plain generic 100-ounce silver bars, 10-ounce silver bars, 1-ounce silver rounds, or even gold kilo bars or 1-ounce gold bars, because those are bullion. And bullion requires broker reporting when you sell it. It's something that's part of the Dodd-Frank Act. And the Dodd-Frank Act, it was written in there so that that people that are in illicit businesses like human trafficking or drug cartels, that they can't move money around and kind of clean their money. So it's become more popular to own coins that are government coins. So Bo's personal favorite is the Silver Eagle. He's bought so many of those from me. Okay. Those are great, great coins. When the premium was too high, you bought silver philharmonics. And Pastor Dave, you've invested in 90% silver, which is my personal favorite, because those are the silver dimes and quarters and half dollars dated 1964 and before. And those are actual coins that have actual silver in them that used to circulate, that do not have broker reporting attached to them when you sell them, meaning no 1099. These are the greatest products out there. So if you're out there and you have 10-ounce silver bars, 10-ounce gold bars, 1-ounce gold bars, 100-ounce silver bars, those aren't bad either. It's just, in our opinion, there are some items that might be better than those. So I wanted to put this out there, because I know that there's some companies out there that have people that work for them, or might be newer companies posing as older companies, that are really going against some of the products that we've made, like the His Glory Gold and Silver, or the General Flynn 2-ounce silver coin, or the Reawaken gold coin that we have. Those are great, great coins that are free of broker reporting, and they're in high demand. Otherwise, we wouldn't have sold millions of them. Like Pastor Dave, we've sold millions of the 1-ounce silver His Glory Lion coins. We've sold thousands of the 1/5 ounce gold His Glory Lion coin, and we'll continue to do it. It's just we've received a lot of calls recently from people that are getting conflicting information, that are very, very confused by people that are offering them stuff because they have limited inventory to sell from. And I just want to throw this out there, because I've received a lot of calls about it. Owning coins that are from governments, the same stuff that Bo Polny buys, Silver Eagles, silver philharmonics, gold philharmonics, those are great, great investments. They are. And we put them in IRAs every day. His Glory Gold and Silver Lions are great, great coins. And I don't want people to be confused, because when it comes to matters of finance, I would say that my company mission is to put people in a position to where they can sleep at night. And when you make a purchase and you tell your neighbor, hey, I made this purchase, and they just tell you that you made the biggest mistake ever, well, you're not going to sleep good at night. And I don't want any part of that. I want to help people be able to sleep at night. So I'm saying this because we're actually at the eve of these markets taking off and hitting new highs. We're $20 away from gold hitting an all-time high. We're just half a dollar away from, or 75 cents away from silver breaking $34. So you're going to start to see huge demand. The premiums are still low. The premiums are going to go up. They're going to be much higher. There's going to be a lot of scammers out there, and it's good to find a gold dealer that you're comfortable with. We're certainly not the only one, but I truly have been doing this for 40 years, and the footprint is out there on the internet and in the industry to check. And I feel that we've done a good job. And Pastor Dave, this is 4 years now we've been working together. Like it's unbelievable. 4 years. It's been a great thing. But thanks for letting me say that. I just wanted to reassure people that they have good product, that we are going to be able to be here to liquidate product, and that reassure people that you're getting the best product out there.
Interesting. You said 1985. So Andrew, 85 is going into the gold stores to learn about precious metals. I'm graduating high school, 85. But this is the point I want to make.
I'm in the Marines.
Nowhere in my education, you're in the Marines, yeah. Nowhere in my education
did they teach me about gold and silver? Understand that very closely. People, please go back to your own educations. When and where do they teach you about gold and silver? The answer is they didn't. The reason they didn't teach you about gold and silver is because they didn't want you to know about it, okay? It's God's money. And so understand, like Andrew says, insurance. What you want an insurance policy on finance? Gold and silver. You're putting your money on God. So you're putting your finances on God and not on a fake, fraudulent money system. So understand that by owning gold and silver, you're owning God's money. You have an insurance policy. You're putting your money on God. And then when God does something biblically, God's a God of more than enough. He blesses and blesses and blesses. So when God intervenes, it's a time of judgment and vindication. At the Red Sea, what happened? It was judgment for Pharaoh, blessings for Israel. The same's about to happen. That was a time thousands of years ago. We're about to step in a moment of time here. To be honest, if you want to push it to April, I think it's possible, but there's a very high probability that this Kent Christmas prophecy comes true. We're within 2 weeks of gold and silver jumping vertical, and the Kim Clement prophecy was watch the gold, because if gold explodes, that then sets the stage for Resurrection Sunday, April 20th, where a key is opened upon the world. That key opens doors nobody has opened in thousands of years. It's a biblical key. It's a key of David. And it also locks doors that no one can ever open again. So that's the prophecy. So Resurrection Sunday is a key of David time point, but it's prefaced because Kent Christmas even said that sets the March event sets the stage for April. So I believe we're within 2 weeks of gold and silver exploding. So I think 3,000 is a roof on gold. When it takes 3,000 out, I believe it's going to go $1,000 in a single day. I believe when this event happens, silver is going to go from $35 to $67 to $70 in a single day. I believe this is going to happen potentially here April latest. But I believe it potentially we could see this happen here in March, because this could be tied in with the Christmas mortal wound prophecy and the Julie Green prophecies about the banking system. So all of this is set. Pastor Dave was asking about prices. Take as a base $20. A base has been $20 for silver for the past maybe 8 or so years, 7, 8 years. So if you do bless damages, so when the banks go down, damages are to be paid immediately, which would potentially, my opinion would be, if you use a biblical number of 7, half of that is 3.5. So if it happens here mid-March, I believe by the end of June, 20 times 7 is $140 silver. I'm just using mathematical calculations. So to answer Pastor Dave's question, 20 base times 7 is $140 per ounce the end of June. That's 3.5. Now, if we have to go 7 months, that would push it to September. So if we go from March, 7 months, that takes it to September. March, April, May, June, July, August, September, say September, October, we would see $140 per ounce silver, and that would be damages. However, I honestly, in my heart, believe if God's going to intervene, I think we'll see it in 3.5 months. So I think by June, the world's going to be freaking out, and the church is going to be celebrating with 3-digit silver, and the number is $140 an ounce in 3.5 months. So again, we're all washing together. God didn't tell me that. I'm just using biblical math to calculate, and that's only damages. And then Pastor Dave can expand upon blessings. Because after damages, you get blessings, which are 30, 60, 100-fold. Mm-hmm. So mathematical calculations, when silver breaks free and it sets the stage for biblical multiplication, you're looking at 20 base times 30, that's $600 silver. 20 base times 60, that's $1,200 silver per ounce. That's 4 digits. And then if you do 100, that's $2,000 per ounce. And if you run a monster box, which is for a box of 500 coins, you're looking at 500 coins times 2,000 an ounce. You're looking at $1 million per 500 ounces of silver. And I didn't make these numbers up. I simply pulled them out of the Bible. and did conservative calculations. Andrew is conservative because he has to be conservative. I just literally used numbers out of the Bible and just showed you the math. All I know is that we're in biblical times. You've got numerous prophets, Barry, Julie, Ken Christmas, Robin Bullock. God sent his prophets. Before God moves upon the world, he sends his prophets because the Lord does nothing. He first revealing his secrets through his servants, the prophets. So I hope people have listened. I hope they have gold and silver. Understand, if you're in the stock market and you have SLV, GLD, paper contracts, you don't own gold and silver.
That's right.
You need to reach out to Andrew or any gold dealer, but you got to get the real stuff. If you have 401ks and IRAs, if you don't have it sitting in a vault, you don't own gold and silver. Gold and silver is a physical commodity that you have to hold in your hand or have access to. The physical stuff, the real stuff.
The day's upon us. It's coming. There was a reason why Warren Buffett and JP Morgan got out of the stock market before the stock market started crashing. They know it's coming. President Trump knows it's coming. It's going to be a race. And I've had a sneak peek of how we're going to come out of this. And it's going to be bumpy, but I truly believe by fall, we will be in the golden age. Literally.
Yeah, I believe September, all game. There's prophecies about September, October. So that's feast season again too. So again, Andrew's website is what? bh-pm.com, correct, Andrew?
It is. And reach out to us. We can turn your retirement accounts into physical gold and silver and have it be tax-free. It's really easy, and we're here to help anyone that wants to learn about it.
It's coming. Light wins.